Awesome, great. Thank you everyone for joining the MoneyMaker webinar. For those of you who may be joining the call for the first time, this is a monthly call that we hold for our reseller partners where we go over any product and feature updates, product launches, and marketing news. My name is Christina and I'm going to be your host for today. Chelsea is away. For those of you who know Chelsea, she is just away for today's webinar, but she's going to be back for next month's call. So a quick review of the agenda. For today's webinar, we have a shortened agenda, so we may not take up your full hour. We'll give you back some precious time back in your day. First up, we're going to cover our plans for the Google community. We know that there's been a lot of questions and concerns, rightfully so, that have come up. And so we want to make sure that we get that covered and keep you informed of our next steps going forward. Second up, we have Brian, who is our engineering manager, and he's going to be talking about SEO strategies. So Brian has been working with our SEO team, and he's put together a really informative series for us based on SEO strategies. So we're going to be covering one topic on each webinar going forward for the next several months. So thank you in advance, Brian, for putting that together for us. And finally, I'm going to go over our current promotions. And then after that, we'll end with Q&A. So just as a reminder, some housekeeping items. If you have any questions, please ask them in the Q&A box. And as I just mentioned, we'll answer them at the end. And also remember that this is always recorded and posted to our YouTube channel. So if you join late or if you want to watch it again later, you may do so on the YouTube channel, and it's called the Reseller Team. So I will go ahead and post this recording plus any resources that are shared on this webinar and the direct link to the YouTube on the Google community. Which brings us to our very first topic, which is our plans for the Google Plus community. So just to bring everyone up to speed, for those of you who are not aware, Google has decided to end their Google Plus platform in April. And there's been a lot of concern as to what our next steps will be. So we just want you to know that we are working on a solution with Rafael Archuleta, and he's currently the owner of the Google Plus platform. He's not able to join us for this webinar, unfortunately, but just to let you know, he will also be the main owner for the new platform. So we're currently working out all the details on the back end, and unfortunately, we do not have a demo ready to show you for today's webinar, but we will be working with Rafael and putting together a demo to share out at the end of next week. So as a reminder again, Rafael will be the owner of that community, and we at GoDaddy are just moderators. And additionally, we just want to remind you that for all technical questions and support, please use our dedicated reseller support line. So just hang tight and stay tuned for the demo and our next steps with the information on what we're going to do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brian, who's going to go into the SEO. I'm going to stop share now, Brian.
Thanks, Christina. I'll go ahead and get my share going here. Okay. So let's get started with the SEO basics presentation then. As mentioned, everybody can hear me fine, right? Yep, good. So as mentioned, this is the first of the series that we're going to kick off for our monthly webinars. The goal here is to introduce you to some of the basic search engine optimization strategies to find new customers. And today we're going to talk about keywords. So the what, the why, and the how to find and optimize these keywords. Then in upcoming webinars, we'll talk about strategies for creating unique content and backlinks using web analytics on your storefront. Next, we'll go into the very basics of social media, how to find social media or how to use social media and find new customers and engage existing customers. We'll talk about local search optimization. So local search may not work for everyone, but if you have a presence in a specific city and you want to optimize to find those customers, local search is great. There are many other factors that affect SEO beyond the relevant content on your page, and these additional factors will give you the edge up on your competition. Finally, we'll talk about optimizing for paid advertising. And paid advertising is an effective way of getting customers, but to get the most value for your money, you should complete all the SEO basics first. So after we cover all of these topics, we'll either revisit any of these topics again, or if you have additional questions or suggestions, do let me know. So I mentioned that we're going to talk about the why and the what and the how. So let's get started with what is a keyword. And a keyword is any phrase that you want to rank for on search results. So primarily you want to rank on the first page of the search results in the top 3 or 5 of those results. So why research keywords? Well, keywords bring traffic to your site. And if you optimize for keywords that no one is searching for, you're not getting traffic and you're wasting your time. Additionally, if you optimize for highly competitive keywords, you're going to spend an incredible amount of time and money, and you're still never going to land on the first page of the results. So it's important to find that right balance of keywords that have the high traffic and low competition. So I just told you what keywords are and why to research them. So when doing keyword research, what you're actually doing is content organization. And you're figuring out what pages you're going to create. What are those page titles going to be? What keywords are you going to put in the URL? What sites do you want to link to your content, to and from on your content? There are many factors that determine how your page is going to rank, with overall content relevance being the first factor. So how do you go about finding the right keywords that have high traffic and low competition? First, you want to brainstorm your keyword list. You'll use the tools to analyze and research the keyword traffic and the competition. You're going to optimize your site for those keywords, and you're going to continue to repeat those steps. So I mentioned that with competitive keywords, you can spend a lot of time on them and never rank. So here are different types of competitive keywords. It's good to know what they are. So head terms are extremely competitive. They're 1 to 2 words, and they're not worthwhile to target directly. Some of you may be doing well with head terms, and that's fantastic. But for those of us that are just getting started, focus on less competitive keywords known as long tail keywords. These are much easier to rank with. And let's focus on getting traffic to our site and then continue to build on that foundation. So branded terms are just not worth your time. These people are not going to buy money from your site. And then there's transactional terms. Combining a transactional term with a keyword will target the traffic for better conversion. So you'll want to incorporate transactional or informational terms into your keyword strategy. And I'll cover how to find these effective transactional terms in a few minutes. So less competitive keywords I mentioned are known as long tail keywords. These are phrases that are longer, usually 3 or more words. They're very focused and sometimes have a smaller amount of traffic that go to them. But the good news is that traffic for long tail keywords tend to be stronger leads with a higher chance of being a paying customer, meaning a higher conversion rate. So the graph below shows an S-curve, and it illustrates why these are called long-tail keywords. As you add more words, the competition starts to drop off. Now, this graph does not represent traffic. It doesn't mean that traffic drops off as fast. So this is why researching keywords is important. Again, you want low competition, high traffic. So how do we come up with long-tail keywords? Well, what are your unique selling points? Are you a small business? Do you uphold a specific core value that you can include in the keywords? Do you have unique skills? Are you a business coach or a website developer or an artist? Are you a subject matter expert, subject matter expert based on an interest or a hobby, a past or current work experience that you have? Is your geography a differentiator? Is the non-English term for a keyword less competitive than the actual English term. Also, let Google Auto-Suggest be your guide. So you can go into Google, you can type in a head term and see what long-tail keywords Google Auto-Suggest comes up with. Add these keywords to your list to research. Have any comments out here? Just checking real quick. Okay, I think we're doing good. Okay. So now it's time to analyze your keywords. There are all kinds of research tools out there, and this is just a handful of the tools. And I don't speak for any of them specifically, but do take a look at these tools. They seem to represent some of the most popular ones. There are free tools like SEO review tools, Google Trends. There's some freemium tools out there that limit the number of searches you can perform before you have to upgrade to a paid customer. Some offer 30-day free trials you can sign up for. There's Google Trends, which is a free tool. Now, keep in mind, Google Trends is a relative metric, meaning that it ranks keywords against other keywords. So Google Trend will rank the popularity of one keyword on a scale of 0 to 100 between another keyword. So just because a keyword has a high score, it doesn't mean it's the most popular of all keywords. It just means it's popular of what you're comparing. So only the most popular keywords will show up there. So let's switch over. For example, what I mean there is I've typed in 5 different keywords here. So I'm going to compare the popularity of these 5 keywords. For example, SEO photography is a more popular keyword than, let's say, website builder, which is the second most popular at 22, which is again more popular in web hosting. So it's just ranking how these keywords match up to each other. If you have a group of keywords that you want to figure out which ones are the most worthwhile to track there. In addition, if you were to type in a single keyword, it's going to compare against all keywords. This is helpful to know if something is actually trending. So for example, fidget spinners, about 2 years ago, was extremely popular, trending really well, and hasn't since trended. So if you type in a keyword and you see some behavior like this, this might not be a keyword you want to go after. Keyword, also you can go to a tool called Answer the Public. And this is built off of Bing and Google's auto-suggest feature. So you can type in a couple terms here. And this is, Answer the Public. The link is on the first slide. And after a minute, it will give you a graph based on WordPress hosting and start building out some transactional terms and keywords to add on to WordPress hosting in this case. So, how does WordPress hosting work? You have some things there. Is WordPress hosting my site? Is WordPress hosting? So you can start to build some keyword lists off of that. In addition to another tool I put was Ads Keyword or Google Keyword Planner. I put this in the freemium category because the tool itself is you must be a paying AdWords customer to use it. The tool is designed to optimize for paid advertising. And the more money you spend in paid advertising, the better data Google will give you. So it is free to sign up for, but to use it, you have to have an AdWords account. Other freemium tools are Moz. It's a very good Keyword Explorer and KW Finder. And those tools allow you to type in a keyword here and then get your metrics. And they also give you suggestions, additional suggestions for keywords you can use. Let's go back. So when using these tools, you need to define your metrics. There are many different metrics you can track. So like search volume, click-through rate, a difficulty score, which each site has their own secret formula for what a difficulty score means. Cost per click, if it's paid search. Get some competitive analysis. How many other sites are targeting those keywords? What's the keyword density those sites are using? What are those sites selling? Are they selling similar products at a similar price point to what you are? How many backlinks do your competitors have? How long have those sites been around generating those backlinks? Because backlinks do take time. And track your research. In this case, I'm using a spreadsheet. I'll give an example here. And you can add keywords. And as you add additional keywords, don't be afraid of having too big of a list. If you come across a suggestion, add it to your list and start grouping the keywords into campaigns to phase your research. Optimize your site for these keywords once you've built your list and start ranking. So in this case, these are a couple different tools and then the data that I've collected from those different tools, and put it into a spreadsheet. Just give me a visual overview of what keyword I want to target. So this spreadsheet, along with this presentation, is available. It'll be in the shared drive. I'll cover that in a minute. So once you've actually determined what keywords you want to target, what changes can we make to optimize our storefront? You can do things like display name, company name. So let's go ahead and switch over to the RCC and talk about that. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and edit my company information. So display name. This name will display in a prominent place on your site, including the site title, and it's important to include your keywords in the display name. Now, company name is a secondary heading text and paragraph text. It might be your actual business name, but you can to tie those into search engine results, but you can also think of it as additional text that shows up in your site and use it to diversify your keywords. Home URL, I'm going to build a WordPress storefront, so I'll enter my URL as my WordPress site, and we'll go into content and link building in the next webinar. Custom domain, so this is the custom URL for your storefront. Keep it on the same domain as your WordPress site, just add a different subdomain. So use keywords in your subdomain. It's another place just to keep stuffing more keywords. In this case, I set up, I bought a domain called Website Builder Photography. It was very relevant to the keyword I'm trying to optimize for. And then I set my custom domain up as buy.websitebuilder.photography. Let's go ahead and close that. The next option is go to support options here. So market. So set your default language for your site. In this presentation, I'm using English terms, but if you have a chosen keyword in a different language, make sure you set the default market so that the Googlebot crawls the site in the appropriate language. And then for contact email address, this is the email address that your customers will see and contact you with. I recommend you use a real name. Don't use something like info@ or support@. We'll talk about this a little bit more when we optimize for a local search, but customers want to interact with human beings. Google knows this, and it will give more credibility to your site when you represent that a person works for your company. Create an email on the same domain as your site, and if you want to create a separate public versus private email, you can create two inboxes. For example, I might create Brian@ for my public email address, and I'll create one that's bfochat for my coworkers and customers that I work directly with. So last caveat here is I'll say that making these updates in the RCC is not going to bring you organic traffic right off the bat there. You're going to have to do more work to create your own site and create your own unique content. It's the unique content and putting relevant keywords in your unique content that is going to create and bring in that organic search traffic. So this is really the first step. SEO is very competitive, but the barrier to entry is low. With the right knowledge and work, you can start to drive traffic to your site. You can do this. Now this presentation, along with other resources, are available in the Reseller Control Center. I'll switch over to that real quick again. Under the marketing tab here, and then marketing content. I've gone ahead and provided the presentation here under SEO Basics. There's a PDF and then the spreadsheet. Switch back to the presentation here. Here's some additional reading and articles you can do, as well as just general, searching on the internet for SEO topics. And this concludes the first in our series of the SEO Basics. For keyword research, it's a very important first step. By itself, keyword research doesn't do anything. But next month, we're going to talk about creating content so you can start ranking for your specific keywords. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brian. That was really great, insightful information, and it's going to come in very useful, especially with the latest launch of the Website Builder. So again, as Brian mentioned, this deck and the resources will be available, and I'll share the direct link so you won't have to navigate through the folders. Thanks again, Brian, so much for all that information.
Cool. Yep. We have some questions
share,
here.
and then I'll go back to.
Yeah, I'll stop share. There you go.
All right, so just a reminder again, we'll answer all the questions at the end. So next up, we have our current promotions. So we have some very exciting promotions on the RCC. So if you check out the RCC, you can see all of the details of all the promotions, all of the opt-in offers in the RCC under the marketing tab in the navigation bar, and then underneath that, it's under promotions. So the three that we're going to talk about today are the Website Builder and hosting and domain promotions. So as you may have already noticed that the Website Builder, which was a promotion that was offered at the end of last year, we extended it, so it's going to be available until the end of April, or officially May 1st. So that's some great news. Next up, we have some really amazing hosting offers as well. Again, all the details will be in the RCC. The hosting offer is going to be available for 3 months. So all of these offers, just as a reminder, you have to actually opt in. And if you're set up to automatically opt in, you will be opted in automatically on March 18th for the domain ones. However, you can manually opt in at any time. And then for the domain promotions, we have 24 new domain extensions that are going to be available. And these are going to be the longest ones that we're offering. They're available for the entire year. So they expire on 12/31. And again, you can manually opt in for these at any time.
And Christina, let me just make sure we clarify, because the hosting promo isn't out there just yet, but we'll have that out there as soon as we can. It should be by the end of this week.
Oh, right. I apologize for that. Sorry. When I say you can opt in at any time, I meant to clarify that's for the domain promotions. The hosting promotions will be available in about a week or so, week and a half or so, and I will let everyone know on the RCC and on the Google Plus as well. So just to clarify that, thanks so much, Bobby. And with that, that concludes our call. So we'll just jump to the Q&A and just answer any questions that we have here. And then just as a reminder, just some housekeeping for anyone who may have joined late. This recording will be posted on the YouTube channel, and the link will be shared on the Google Plus community. And again, I'll share the resources and the presentation that Brian shared with us today. So I do want to just address, I see some in the Q&A, there's some questions regarding the Google community. So no, to answer one of the first questions is, will it be hosted by GoDaddy? So no, we will not be hosting it. So this platform we're kind of moderators, but we are not the owners of the platform. So it's going to be an outside platform. And again, we will go through all of the details on the demo on how to log in, how to set up your account, how to become active members, and walk you through all the steps required with Rafael Archuleta, and he will be the actual owner. There was another question in the Q&A regarding contacting Rafael Archuleta, and that you haven't heard from him in a while. We have been in communication with him, so we will make sure that for the demo, we have his contact information, and we will address that point of how to reach him. And again, we'll walk through all the steps of everything you need to do to be an active member of the community. So all of that will be explained in the demo that we share out next week. So not to worry on that end.
There's a few questions here I can answer on the keywords.
Okay, great.
From the presentation. So the first one here is, how do these keywords help when Google has downgraded its relevance of the meta tag? And so ultimately it's coming down to content relevance. So you'll need to write articles and content using images and links for relevance based on those keywords. And there's some concepts out there for keyword density. So when you're writing an article, how often do you use that keyword in a paragraph? that metric ultimately determines, and it's going to be dependent on the content. So if you find a keyword you like, look at some of the popular sites and figure out what density they're using and try to match around that same density. And then Google will, using their algorithm, either pick up on that content or not. There's other things like click-through rates, so they'll start to display your content in the second or third or fourth ranking. And if people are starting to click on those, then that might bump you up 1 or 2 more spots. There's also additional factors beyond just content relevance, such as site performance and things like that. If you're mobile optimized, if you have an SSL cert, we'll cover a little bit more of those additional ranking factors in a future webinar too. So yeah, you're right. The meta tag doesn't really do anything for Google algorithm. It's all about the text on the page and whether people are interacting with your site. The next question is, how do you keep your email from being spammed? So yep, spam is an issue by a email service that provides good spam detection is really the best recommendation out there. Know that it's a public email and people want to contact you from email. It's just the nature of email right now and the way it works. So there's not a whole lot you can do other than having a really good spam detection software for your email. So the next question, is it beneficial that keyword domains point to your main website, or should you just create one page? So this is completely a huge debate on the internet and how Google algorithm works. Google is going to tell you create one site and create relevant content on that one site. That's really what I will stick with, is the straight Google recommendation. If you read online and read a lot of the SEO blogs, they are going to tell you differently. So your mileage is going to vary, and it really depends on your keyword and the popularity of that keyword and who's searching for it. Any additional resources to create an ad for promotions? I assume, are you talking about for like using pay-per-click? We do, if that's what that's about. We're going to cover pay-per-click last in this presentation because you really want to make sure you have everything else lined up before you start paying for any kind of ads and doing promotions.
Brian, I think that's actually about, because I know Shannon provided some material for promotions when we did the website builder promo. I'm not aware of any material that we have for the 2 new promos coming out. Christina, do we have anything prepared for them?
Not for the new promotions that are coming out, with the exception of whatever is listed on the RCC.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think that wraps up the questions that have been posted. Again, just to remind everyone that the presentation will be shared and you can watch the whole thing, and all of the links will be on the Google Plus community, and the recording will be on our YouTube channel. So a special thanks again to Brian for sharing the SEO strategies, and to all of our panelists for joining and jumping in and answering questions, and to all of the resellers for joining us on this webinar. And stay tuned for the demo for the Google Plus solution, and we will see you on the next webinar. Thanks so much. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.